Start number 2. Okay. Save and close. All right, so we're all set. Grew up in Milford. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hi, everyone. This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. We're about ready to go with the 7:15 streaming weather show after another gorgeous day in the Fox 19 Now viewing area. So I'll be with you here in under a minute, according to my clock. So in a minute, we'll be talking about Hi everyone, this is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. In under a minute, I'll be with you for the 7:15 live weather streaming show from the Fox 19 Streaming Center. I've got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a very busy couple of weeks ahead of us. We've got some ups and downs temperature-wise, but it looks like at the end of the next 2 weeks, we're going to start focusing in on the up part of that. So, and I'm trying to get into... Okay, there it is. It's there. Do we have audio? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hi, everyone. This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. In under a minute. All right. It is 7:15 on my clock. Hi, everybody. This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer coming to you from the Streaming Center at Fox 19 Now. And take a look at our camera, which is on Newport on the Levee. Beautiful shot of downtown Cincinnati. If you keep it dark like that, I love the way the lights highlight the buildings and that, rather than have everything bright so you can see every little brick and all that. So overall, we are talking again about another warm day today. Look at that. The temperature is still 64 at the International Airport. And if you take a look at radar, you can see behind me on radar, there are just a few showers around the tri-state. There's more coming in from the south and west and from the north and west. And the models that we've been using say that we'll all get at least a little bit of rainfall overnight. So let's go ahead and change that monitor back to what we've got, and we're going to start talking again about the next several days weather-wise. So first of all, there's our camera in Mount Auburn. If you go right through the center of the screen, you head out toward Norwood with the cloudy sky, and again, still 64 degrees. Light traffic now on Interstate 71, which you see right down there where the truck's going. That's northbound. High temperature today made it to 68 degrees, okay? That 68 degrees is the warmest we've had since February 3rd. This is exactly what I said yesterday at this time, when the high temperature was 70. Today's record, 73, set back in the year 2000. So we were 5 degrees off of that record high temperature. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the airport temperatures as of 7 p.m. I've got 52 in Richmond, 59 in Middletown, 59 in Springboro, 48 already at Washington Courthouse, and 53 in Hamilton. So temperatures have fallen off quite a bit, and everybody else there is in the 60s. And temperatures are anywhere from 4 degrees to maybe as much as 11 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. You know what I forgot? I forgot to put the high temperatures in there. So let me stop this, and I'm going to go, and you'll continue to see the radar run there. And I'm going to go find the high temperature map. And like I told you, my files are set up kind of like a sock drawer here, completely out of order. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the high temperatures today around the tri-state. It made it to 72 at Lunken Airport, 70 in Falmouth. So those are the only two areas in our viewing area that made it to 70. Both Portsmouth and Ashland are just outside of the Fox 19 Now viewing area, and they also made it into the 70s. Oh my gosh. I had trouble yesterday getting into work. I was driving along thinking, call in sick, go out, walk the dogs. Well, I went to work. Had the same issue today, but I'm here again. So overall, look at those temperatures. Now, Richmond, Indiana only made it to 55. I tell you what, I'm beginning to think there's something wrong with the thermometer up there, but it's consistently colder than normal, colder than anywhere else. So there you see it. Great looking weather out there. And again, the temperatures now, come on, machine, don't fail me now. All right, I'm not sure why this is doing this, but we'll try and load another one here. So the high temperatures you can see into the 70s in spots. Airport temperatures right now dropping off into the 50s, and there we are again, anywhere from 3 now to 11 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. Okay, so here is the shower activity that we're looking at. And you see showers off to the north, you see showers down to the south. What we're really looking at, and what really is a factor in our forecast, is what's off to the south and west. And you can see, look how this line is growing, and look at this. There we go. We've been talking about the possibility of a little thunder. Let me zoom in on that for you. And I'll do a box zoom right where that's taking place. Okay. All right, so if we do a little box zoom there into southern Illinois, there you see just north of Interstate 64, you see some thunderstorm activity. Now, if you look at this and you project it along, let me zoom back out a minute so it works a little bit better here. If you look at that, project it along, not that much zooming out. So if you project these thunderstorms just the way they're moving like this, they come right through the center of our viewing area, and that's exactly what the model was saying, that it wouldn't look like much, but you'd start seeing the rainfall grow and become more widespread to the south and west. And we've probably got 3 episodes or 3 rounds of rain coming in, and it's all gone by the morning commute. So if you're one of those unlucky people that has to drive when everybody else is driving in the morning every day, it does not look like this is going to be an issue for that morning commute. And you might even hear a few claps of thunder, but we do not have any severe weather in the forecast this evening or overnight. And there you see the thunderstorm activity just about to cross the Wabash River from southern Illinois into southwestern Indiana. By 9 p.m., we should be about 56 degrees. By 1 a.m., 52, so still mild. And then overnight, it does get much chillier, down to 42 degrees for the low temperature. Some areas a bit colder, some not quite as cold, with wind chills in the 30s as you head out the door tomorrow morning. And the sun's up at 7:15. So for the morning commute, roads will either be dry or in the process of drying out, no new rain coming down. It'll be cloudy and breezy. Temperatures in the low 40s and wind chills will be in the 30s. So after today's high of 68, wind chills in the 30s are going to feel kind of cold tomorrow morning. Okay, here is the first round of rainfall that we're looking at. You can see that up over Highland and Wilmington area of Clinton County, moving off to the north and east. And then you've got scattered showers from that southwestward. So you've got some across near Batavia, some from Alexandria to Patriot, a cluster around Versailles, some moving toward Carrollton. So that's the first round of rainfall into the tri-state. Okay, as we go forward in time to about 1:30 a.m., you see the second round coming in there. And that's giving rain to everywhere from Hamilton and Westchester down to Cincinnati, over to Wilmington, moving into Hillsborough with another line off to the south. That's the second round. The third round is staying a little bit further south, okay? That round will cross from Carroll and Gallatin through Owen, Grant, Pendleton, parts of Bracken counties, and then end up exiting our viewing area from southern Highland into Brown and Adams. But that could also have a few claps of thunder. But again, we do not suspect any severe weather, and it is completely gone long before the morning commute. Actual rainfall totals, though, have come up now. If you remember yesterday, I was looking at this, talking to you, and this particular model had only 1/100th of an inch in most locations, as much as 6/100ths of an inch of rain, which isn't much. And the very next run, right before I went on the air at 10 o'clock last night, jacked the rainfall totals up to just about what you see there. So the model was having a hard time getting its act together and getting a good feel for what was going on dynamically with the rain. But it's been pretty much steady since then. And so some spots that get a heavier downpour, maybe getting 58 to 64/100ths of an inch of rainfall. Most areas more than likely getting less than a 1/4 inch of rain as it all pushes off to the east. Now you will get a clap or two of thunder overnight. The weather not going to be severe. This is the Storm Prediction Center's forecast. Notice that beige color matches the L0, or level 0 out of 5. And so just some garden variety claps of thunder, nothing to worry about as far as severe weather goes. Okay, this is the Climate Prediction Center says from the 4th to the 8th of March, we are going to be warmer than normal. Okay, the Climate Prediction Center also says that we will be near normal from the 6th to the 12th of March. And now this is the graphic that will be updated on Friday, so it's a little outdated, but they're still thinking that the average temperature will be about normal from the 11th through the 24th. Excuse me a second. Okay, now what about precipitation? Okay, didn't want to do that one. Okay, precipitation, we're getting that La Nina bullseye there of more precipitation than normal from the 4th through the 8th, a little bit more than normal from the 6th through the 12th, and then we also had that La Nina bullseye over top of us there from the 11th to the 24th. So overall, we're talking about we're basically talking about a La Nina pattern with more than normal precipitation. So here's the issue that we're worried about here is that we've already made up for the drought. There's little doubt that the soil moisture is completely recharged. If we end up with several weeks of above normal precipitation, it could conceivably be an issue for farmers. So they go last summer and fall from not enough moisture to keep the crops alive to now too much to get the equipment in the field, and so that's what we're watching right now. Too early to really call it, but we're keeping our eyes on the fact that there might be too much rain around the tri-state for farmers to get an early jump on the work they need to get done in preparation of planting. So your 7-day forecast looks like this. Low tonight 40, and remember the wind chill tomorrow morning is going to be down in the 30s. 53 the high tomorrow, showers and breezy. Downright windy on Friday. Could be some wind gusts to 35 miles an hour. Look for a low of 32, a high of 57. We're looking at 36 and 39 for Saturday. Now what will happen, the actual high temperature, excuse me. Sorry that I had to mute my mic. I was about to sneeze, and I didn't think it'd be polite to sneeze in all your ears. So on Saturday, the warmest part of the day is actually going to be about midnight, and we will see temperatures in the 30s throughout the day. So the high temperature when it's officially recorded for Saturday will be whatever the midnight temperature is, but you're looking at morning and afternoon temperatures there on that Saturday. So it's going to be a chilly Saturday. There's no doubt about it. With it being breezy, wind chills will be in the 20s good portion of the day. On Sunday, mostly sunny but cold sunshine, the high temperature 37 after a low of 21. Then Monday, 46, 59 on Tuesday, Wednesday, 62, and we do have showers moving back in, it looks like, Tuesday and Wednesday. So there we go with the ups and downs that we've been talking about for a while. Now, if we go to beyond the 7-day forecast, takes us out to the 12th of the month of March, excuse me, you have high temperatures again below normal, but a gradual warming trend will take us up into the 60s again by the 11th and 12th, and it looks like numerous chances of a rain-snow mix. I think more rain than anything, but with morning temperatures and overnight temperatures in the 20s and 30s, there's a good chance that we could see a little bit of snow mixed in with that. But we don't have any big snowstorms on the horizon. Okay, so your 14-day temperature outlook looks like this. There are the high temperatures, there are the low temperatures. Put the normal lines on and you can see we're up, we're above, below, and back up above on the high temperature side with that warming trend coming in, and the same thing on the low temperatures. And that's pretty typical of what happens at this time of year. So your takeaway on this forecast, okay, Steve, come on, takeaway on the forecast. There we go, just click the right spot. The takeaway as we head into the second week of March, temperatures variable but close to normal on the average. Okay, so there'll be some above, some below, but it's going to average out about normal. No Arctic air outbreak after this weekend. Okay, this weekend, you could consider this a minor Arctic air outbreak with high temperatures in the 30s. Not that much colder than normal, but that's a cold air outbreak. But after this, it doesn't look like anything like that coming our way. But on the flip side of that coin, no early spring either. No 70s and 80s in the near future. The weather looks like it will continue to be very active, but as we head toward the middle of March, may begin to dry out a little bit. Even though this is March and we've had some big severe weather episodes, it's just a small chance of severe weather as we head through the first half of March. Just don't have the atmosphere aligned in the right way to bring that really warm, moist air and unstable air into the tri-state. And we are looking forward to the 10th, 11th, and 12th of March. That's when that warming trend begins to kick in. Okay, let's go to Facebook, see who's got a comment or a question here. Okay, this is the only question I've got here right now. Nathan Bell. Do you foresee 2025 being as active in severe weather terms locally as it was in 2024? Because you're hearing a lot of noise on social media. Well, Nathan, let me tell you, the first thing about that noise on social media is it's just noise, okay? There was somebody that posted something a couple days ago that was talking about the 9th, 10th, and 11th of March. Watch out for a big snowstorm. And he had snow drawn in as far south as Nashville and included us. And right now, there's no sign of that whatsoever. I don't know what this person was looking at, but obviously he wasn't looking at anything that was based in fact. So, yeah, I've been hearing a lot of noise about that too. Okay, and typically when we have a La Nina winter, and this was kind of a La Nina winter, but it's a failed La Nina really, and we're just kind of into a La Nina pattern now that's not going to last much longer. We can have a pretty active severe weather season, and a La Nina summer leads to a fairly active Atlantic hurricane season also. But since it's a weak, short-lived, kind of failed La Nina, that may not have an effect. However, just based on a couple of things. One, based on what I see heading into the spring, I think, yeah, it's going to be fairly active. The other thing we have to base this on, and we can never discount this, is what is the long-term trend, okay? Now, the long-term trend is that the Earth is warmer. And let me explain this, I guess. Let me back up a step or two. Okay, as scientists, we know that the Earth is warming. There's no doubt about that. We also know that the cause of that is human activity. There's no doubt about that either. Even though some people say there is, there's no doubt about it. However, what's causing it is not an issue at this point. What the issue about whether or not we're going to have more severe weather than we had in the past is about how much energy is available for that. Okay. Now, if you take a look at what's going on in the atmosphere, we are warming up. And if most estimates have the amount of water vapor on average in the atmosphere, so humidity, but the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere, 8 to maybe 10% higher than it was before global warming really kicked in. And so, for example, when I was in college in the 70s, the water vapor on average is 8 to 10% higher. Now, what a meteorologist knows, just based on the science, is that you've got a lot of things that power severe thunderstorms, okay? And one of those things, how much energy is at jet stream level, you know, how high are the winds, and all kinds of stuff. But what really pushes it over the threshold from just garden variety thunderstorms to severe thunderstorms is often how much moisture is in the air. And on a typical thunderstorm day, the average humidity in the atmosphere, the actual water vapor content, is 8 to maybe 8 on the average, maybe as much as 12% higher than it used to be. And that's a lot of energy because every time, and the best way to realize what's going on here is if you're out exercising on a warm day and you get really sweaty and then you stand in front of a fan, you feel cool because the water from the sweat on your skin evaporates, okay? So when water evaporates, to go from a liquid to a gas, it has to absorb heat. That heat makes the molecules move faster, and whenever you have a drop of water, it's always more than one molecule. It's billions in most cases. But a drop of moisture then, with those atoms, with the molecules, moving faster and faster and faster, they can break free, and that's what evaporation is. A water molecule just has enough energy to break free from the drop on your skin. Okay, well, if there's more energy available, you'll have more of that evaporation. Well, reverse that, flip the coin. If there's more moisture in the atmosphere, whenever you cool the atmosphere off, you're going to have more moisture fall out. So what we can expect is that because of global warming and because of increased global evaporation and the higher amount of moisture in the atmosphere, we have more energy available for severe storms. So just looking at it in a long-term climatic kind of way, yeah, there'll probably be more severe storms now than there have been in most years in the past, and this year doesn't look to be an exception. And then you've got other stuff. In other words, we could have more moisture, we could have heat, we could have everything you need, but if you get a big ridge of high pressure over top of us, like we had a lot of last summer, you don't get much, okay? You just get hot weather, and around the margin of that ridge, you get your thunderstorm activity. So just looking at it from a climatic standpoint, that I think there's a pretty good chance that most severe weather seasons from here on out are going to be more active than we've become accustomed to in our past when we were younger because of the increased amount of energy available for storms to do what storms do. Okay, let's see here. All right, let's see here. Jeff Beechler says, hello, Jeff. No snow yet for... Okay, if we step into a neutral ENSO pattern, ENSO, says Nathan, is as the El Nino Southern Oscillation. In other words, we go from El Nino to neutral to La Nina, then back to neutral, then back to El Nino, and it doesn't necessarily always go that way. It could go El Nino, neutral, El Nino, neutral. If we step, now, one of the things we looked at last year at this time, we were stepping from an El Nino, and it looked like we were going to step into a La Nina pattern, okay? So when you go from an El Nino in the winter to a La Nina pattern over the subsequent few months, it typically ends up being a fairly wet, mild winter, and it tends to be fairly stormy, okay? Well, and then what happened this year is that the La Nina, despite the fact that we've got these great models that just didn't get it exactly right, the La Nina formed later, it's been weaker, and it's not going to last as long, so it didn't really follow the typical pattern. But if we step from, and we're neutral, we actually have a La Nina now, but it's very weak, so we're essentially La Nina to neutral now. If we go from La Nina to neutral, and then stay neutral, it's usually typically pretty stormy, okay? And again, so many other things affect that, but I'm just saying that in the long run here, everything's adding up for severe storm seasons to have more numerous storms and stronger storms, and of course grab more headlines in the news. So Nathan, I'm thinking fairly active. And it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that there'll be many tornadoes up in Washington State or anything like that. The typical areas that get the worst severe weather, the deep south where most of the moisture is, will be affected the most, and we're close enough to it. We have another feature here. If you think about Cincinnati, here's Cincinnati, and if you go east, you're driving along the Ohio River, and then you see the terrain start to do this in Adams County at the Appalachian Plateau, and then eventually you make it into the Appalachian Mountains. Well, the terrain here east of us kind of funnels. So remember, the terrain's going up like this, so the moisture coming in has kind of funneled and concentrated, and that's one of the reasons that the Cincinnati area has a high incidence of those leading edge little spin-up nasty tornadoes that don't last a long time but can do quite a bit of damage. So yeah, I think basically pretty stormy. Kim Webster says hello, and that's all the comments right now. So let me summarize what I said. I tend to do that. I love to talk about weather, so I tend to talk about like, hey, are we going to have more storms than normal this spring? And I go off on 4 different branches. So everything says if we go from, and you know what? Let me see what. Let's see if I can find a reference for you guys here. Give me a second here. Okay, so this reference, which is an AI reference, so I can't really say that I trust it completely. ENSO neutral typically leads to about average number of storms. Okay, so in other words, just if we base this on having not an El Nino, not a La Nina, but the in-between neutral phase, that the number of severe weather events tends to be about what we would consider average. Okay, well then when you put that together with the additional moisture that we find in the atmosphere, I think most of the time we're going to figure out that spring into summer is going to end up being more active than normal just because of the large-scale climatic changes that are taking place. So, and here is climate.gov. If you want to look at the climate.gov, here's a source, and I'll see what, it's a blog, it's the ENSO blog. And there's a thing here called ENSO, or El Nino Southern Oscillation. So the Southern Oscillation is just literally the sloshing of pressure systems, okay? In one phase, it generates an El Nino, where the water is warmer than normal along the equator. And the other phase, it generates a La Nina. Now, as far as hurricanes go, El Ninos are associated with more shear over the Atlantic, which tend to inhibit hurricane formation, and with dust coming out of the sub-Saharan Africa region into the Atlantic, which also helps inhibit hurricane formation. So, and La Nina is just the opposite of that. So ENSO means El Nino Southern Oscillation, and that's the entire system that we talk about. So, most of the tornadoes. Okay. I'm reading this really quickly and trying to let you know what they say, but you can look it up yourself. It's climate. Just search on climate.gov ENSO, and it'll take you to the blog. Okay, so they clarify this a little bit differently than the AI thing did. They say that, okay, in El Nino situations, the jet stream typically shifted further to the south and you get more activity down that way. And a La Nina is associated with more of a wavy jet stream, which should enhance severe weather activity. So it says, El Nino tends to shift the jet stream farther south over the U.S., which blocks moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, reducing the fuel for thunderstorms. Okay, so El Nino tends to be associated with fewer severe weather events in our neck of the woods. On the other hand, La Nina is associated with a more wavy and northward shift of the jet stream, which might be expected to enhance severe weather activity. Okay, so if you're going from La Nina to El Nino, you would tend to see a decrease. If you're going from La Nina to neutral, you would probably also see a little bit of a decrease. But what they're saying here is that, A, we don't have enough of data over the years to really pin down this, but just conceptually, you would associate La Nina with enhanced severe activity as far north as the Midwest and the Great Lakes because of the wavy jet stream pattern bringing moisture north. On the other hand, El Nino tends to keep the moisture to the south, and that decreases the amount of severe weather. Okay, so if you're interested in that, and it's pretty much written. It's not written in real scientific terms that would just boggle your mind. It's pretty clearly written for the general public, and that's at climate.gov, and it is called the ENSO blog. All right. Okay, so let me go over the forecast here very quickly, and then I get the fun job of updating the software on the weather computer, and the terrifying thought that it might not be done by 10 o'clock for a show. It's only happened once that way, so. All right, so let's go right back to the 7-day forecast as soon as I find it. Okay. So, the 7-day will pop up. There it is right now. Okay, so in the 7-day forecast, what we're looking at here is, I don't know, it just disappeared again, so. One more time. Come on, there we go. Load it. I have to reload it. I don't know what happened. I must have hit the wrong button. Okay, so when we're looking at the 7-day forecast, here's what we're looking at. We're looking at a low of 40 tonight, a high of 53 tomorrow, 32 and 57 for Friday. Now tomorrow, showers pop up again in the afternoon. Can't rule out a clap of thunder, but no severe weather. 32 and 57 for Friday, but windy. There could be wind gusts as high as 35 to 40 miles an hour. Potentially, there could be a wind advisory out for Friday. 36 and 39 for Saturday, 21 and 37 for Sunday. So a cold but dry weekend. Partly cloudy on Monday with a high of 46 and back into the upper 50s and lower 60s with showers on Tuesday and Wednesday. When we get to beyond the 7-day, it goes out 7 days from the 6th through the 12th. several chances of a little rain snow mix. High temperatures do show a warming trend finally. After we bottom out with a high of 44, we make it to 64 by the 12th. And then we are also talking about a warming trend on the low temperature side. And here's our summary graphic. You can see that the high temperatures are varying all over the place, so are the lows. And when you compare them to normal, we end that 14-day stretch with a warming trend in the tri-state. And that is it for now. Let me quickly check and see if we have any. Sharon Williams says, hi, everyone. She's talking to us from Minnesota. Okay, and Nathan Bell said, thanks for the explanation. But yeah, again, if you're interested in the ENSO thing, read the blog. But remember, it's not like we have 5,000 El Nino, La Nina events. We have a limited database, so it's really hard to statistically prove it. But conceptually, you can see why it may work a certain way. So there's no proof, but there's certainly good indications. Okay, that's it. Thank you for joining me. Have yourself a nice night. Oh, and one other thing. We welcomed our new meteorologist to Fox 19 today, Erin Ashley. She's from Milford, Ohio. I grew up in Loveland, so she was essentially a neighbor a generation or two removed, but that's another issue. And she will be on the air for the first time on Sunday. Now, she did appear with Ethan Emery at noontime today on our streaming show. And more than likely, she may do that again tomorrow and Friday. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out. But she will make her first appearance on air Sunday night here on Fox 19. I think you're going to enjoy watching her. She's a good meteorologist, dedicated to letting you know what's going to happen. And we are very happy to have her here at Fox 19. And nice to have a native from Milford in-house. That's it. Thanks for joining me. Have yourself a nice night.